G'day and welcome to Galley Chats. I'm Dean Harrison, your chef and host. This is a place where not only the food is cooked, but where the crew drop in, the conversations just roll. It's the heart of the boat and everyone's got a story, so grab a bite and let's get into it. Okay, so we have Peter Frost here, Frosty.
Hey man, how are you?
Good friend of mine, and I actually haven't seen him for a long time, so we've got lots of catching up to do. But I actually want to go all the way back, introducing where you're from and kind of your upbringing as well. So you're from the UK?
Yeah, the UK boy.
Further back?
So my heritage is actually Ghanaian, born in Britain, but adopted from birth. Which I'm sure maybe we'll dive into that a little bit deeper.
Yeah, definitely.
Grew up in London, West London. Sister, one sister, slightly older than me, 2-3 years older than me. And yeah, just a normal kind of upbringing, I guess, really.
So your sister is also adopted?
She was, yeah, but we're not actually adopted from the same mother. So she is from Jamaican, St. Lucian heritage, and I'm from Ghanaian heritage. But
amazing.
If you put us in the same room, you wouldn't know there was a kind of a different cultural thing, or we
think like brother and sister, like
we're literally from, I guess from being able to speak to each other, you know, from baby tongue, we've always had quite a strong bond. So yeah, that's been really, really good. So
amazing. And what was that like? I guess growing up in London. So how old were you when you were adopted?
From birth. So,
from birth?
Yeah, pretty much I think days or weeks, yeah. My biological mum was a nurse. And apparently she was in the States before and kind of on her way back to kind of Ghana, stopped in the UK, was looking for work, couldn't find that, but obviously heavily pregnant with me. And then a decision was made that obviously for me to be raised in Ghana at that time was not the best time. In 1982, I think there was, you know, political upheaval and, you know, poverty and stuff like that. So yeah, I was adopted in Croydon in 1982. Yeah.
82. And growing up there, how was it? I haven't really been to that area, to be honest, but like food and like culture and.
I don't really remember much in my early years about food, apart from home. So my mum's an amazing cook. I think that's probably where the passion for cooking. I know it's a massive cliche for us chefs to, you know, mum, grandma, or you know, but in my instance, definitely so. Like really, really, very strong with that one. Also, my grandmum as well. She was massively into cooking. So that's where that came from. And then at school, I really took a shine to kind of, you know, if there was making cupcakes, you know, I kind of really, really enjoyed, you know, getting the ingredients and turning them into something that tasted yummy and you could play around with
found it easy.
Yeah, with it, you know, like decorating it and trying to be fancy and things like that. And then I guess my strongest memory is probably my mum on a Sunday would always do this kind of tea, which was the salady bits.
Okay.
And it was kind of like lettuce, cherry tomatoes, beetroot. And I, from very young, I would try and make a face out of all the ingredients. And then obviously, as I got a bit older, I tried to kind of think of flavour combinations. Nothing to the extreme of what is now, but like, beetroot and tomato. No, it doesn't really go. So egg and, you know, just kind of playing around with those kind of things. So that's kind of, I guess, my early memories of kind of food. Yeah.
Yeah, right. What was your like mum and grandma was making? Like, what kind of food are they were making?
Cakes. So there's a recipe that my mum does, which is like a fruit loaf. And I've tried. I've literally got it written down in so many books. I've tried and tried and tried. And I just cannot get it anywhere. It just tastes different. I don't know what it is.
What's the secret?
Yeah, it's magic. I don't know, some mum sprinkle.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so my mum's an amazing baker. Has made all of the family's birthday cakes. She would go down to the Salvation Army and do cake sales to raise fundraising things and stuff like that. And very similar with my grandmum as well. She was that kind of stuff, but then obviously the traditional Sunday roast.
Nice.
Yeah, just kind of a good home. Both of them are just really good, solid home cooks.
Nice.
So yeah.
And then what was your next step, kind of moving into the professional scene where you worked in restaurants, or were you doing something before that?
So I had a couple of Saturday jobs. One was working in a coffee shop in a shopping centre, which, to be honest with you, was diabolical. But I learned how to make a good coffee, so I mean, I got something
cool.
out of it.
How old were you there?
I must be 14, 15, I think.
Oh wow,
maybe.
Straight into the workforce.
Yeah, but I mean, I was obviously going to school as well, but then
Still, that's cool.
doing that, and then I was going to catering college when I kind of decided that actually, I like cooking. Let's see where we can go with this. I got a job at a Sainsbury's, so like a Walmart in Australia kind of thing. And I started out on the trolleys, so I was in the car park, headphones on, dossing around. And then I got onto the tills, and then the general manager found out that I was doing catering college. He was like, "Oh, do you mind working in the staff canteen?" And I was like, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's extra money." I was like, "Yeah." Right, in I go. So I went and did that, and then some of the staff left. So within, I don't know, bear in mind I was only doing Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, right.
And then obviously going to college, and then it was, right, what other nights can you do? Right, can we also have you Saturday and Sunday? I was like, yeah, because it's pocket money. I was saving for a car. And then I ended up running it, obviously without kind of a professional certification from college yet, but I was kind of running it and stuff, and it was great. I was, I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular. It was like sandwiches.
I was going to say,
nuggets,
what are you
chips,
doing?
That kind of, very kind of open and pour and all that kind of malarkey.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it wasn't anything structured, but it was just nice. I kind of already felt I kind of had my own domain, my own space, and I had like two wonderful girls that work with me. One is literally my best, is a godmother to my daughter.
Oh wow.
So yeah, she's like one of my best friends like ever through that. So it's kind of quite amazing to think back about that actually.
Did that teach you anything that you're using now? That kind of, it doesn't have to be food, but like the way that it was structured or anything like that. Did you learn much from that, or was it just?
Yeah, I think so. I think I learned that you've got to be kind of organised like early on. I definitely learned about timekeeping. I definitely learned about keeping clean, and not necessarily the correct way, from probably being in the shit, like, oh, where are the sausages, where did I put them, underneath all the rubbish. So quickly learning that actually if you work clean and tidy, it's actually more of an enjoyable process, and you're not there 3 hours after everything's done and dusted still cleaning up. So yeah, I kind of learned those kind of things, I'd say. Yeah,
I think like people underestimate, working in McDonald's or something early on, or Sainsbury's, or these places have like structures and plans and HACCP and health things where everything needs to be ticked and organized. So it's like you learn something from everywhere, I think, that you work, which is kind of cool. So then after that, when did you start working in restaurants?
So I started working in restaurants pretty much after I left college, like literally straight away. So there was a lad that his dad was a professional pastry chef, had set up a company that was doing a lot of airline catering.
Okay.
And they were getting in, celebrity chefs to kind of run a line of, say, desserts or starters and that kind of thing. Before now, it's kind of Gordon Ramsay looks after, say, the whole
thing,
kind of business class for Singapore Airlines or whatever it is. And he was always forever going on about, my dad's mates with this chef and that chef. And I remember getting the Caterer magazine, which is like an industry magazine that had an interview with, a 2 Michelin star chef or, whoever. And on this particular brochure, there was Michel Senior. And I remember flicking through it on the bus on the way home. And I got home, my mum and dad would like say, what are you going to do after college? And I don't know what made me say it. I just turned around to my dad. I went, I'm going to work for this guy.
No way.
And I'd already applied for a couple of other restaurants that were open and poor, you know, and they kind of said, no, you need more experience. And I was like, as soon as I kind of said it to my dad, I was like, it's not going to happen, but, you know. And then that night, my dad literally made me write a letter. And then obviously he read it, checked it, grammar and all that. And then we drove over to the restaurant.
No way.
Put it underneath the office door. They were shut for, I think it was winter closing. So I didn't hear anything for months and months and months. And all of a sudden I got a call to go in and do a trial. That restaurant is a waterside inn, so 3 Michelin star.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow, straight into it.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a baptism of fire, shall we say.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
I want to hear some of those stories. But,
oh, you will, yeah.
sorry, just quickly, did we skip over the whole soup kitchen thing? Was that before?
Soup kitchen has
Was
kind
that
of
before
been a little bit before, and a little bit kind of later on as well in my career. So growing up, I used to go to the Salvation Army quite a lot.
Yeah.
And they're obviously known as a church, but I think they're predominantly maybe more known for their charity work, you know, for shelters and things like that. So my mum and dad used to go to the Salvation Army a lot, and they would go into London and do soup runs if there was a big, you know, there was a couple of big fires back in those days at warehouses.
Yeah.
And I remember that they went, and it was a school night, and me and my sister ended up going, and we were stood in the van serving soup, chopping veg, giving out crisps to the firemen and stuff like that. So it's kind of, it definitely gels in with my persona. I might be jumping a bit ahead here, but in terms of food, that food is a comforter. Food is it's not just a source of energy. It's not just a source of nourishment. It's also a comforter for emotion and things like that. So I think being exposed to that kind of, you know, seeing firemen that have been fighting a fire for hours, and then you give them something, you know, warm soup and a sandwich.
Means a lot.
You see the smart, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And so, you see that as well. I mean, this is a totally different world, but you know, with the crew, like when they're grinding away.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's going to make them happy in that point in time of like these long charter seasons is your food.
Yeah.
You know, you're giving them a sense of joy. So,
absolutely.
I mean, obviously, firemen and, you know, all that kind of stuff is a little bit different to that. But it does. It brings a sense of joy and brings people together. And
yeah, for sure. I think, you know, we're in a very privileged place to be. It sometimes it doesn't feel like that. Don't get me wrong, but to be able to do what we love, be very open and personable about what we do. We actually put a lot of our self into what we do. Well, if you give a shit about what you do, you do. And you put yourself out there to be critiqued and to be knocked down or to be praised. You know, there's so many emotions that go around just by cooking. But as you say, cooking something that just brings a smile to one crew member's face. You know, we don't know what's going on, you know, in their private lives or how their day's been on deck or in the interior. So, yeah, for that 30 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, for them to have something that they really like, cooked well, it's a nice feeling, to be honest.
it is. It's really nice. So you're cooking for firemen, you're doing soup kitchens, and kind of just doing all that kind of stuff, and that's where you kind of got that from. But then moving so completely different.
Yep.
Is into Michelin kitchen. So I want to hear more about the Roux, Michel Roux.
Yeah, Michel Roux.
Senior.
God rest his soul, first of all. Nothing but the biggest amount of respect, love. I wouldn't be anywhere near where I would be without the kind of the nurturing. He was definitely a chef that you learn how to cook from, but you also learn how to navigate life. You know, I had obviously amazing life skills that were given to me from my mum, my dad, you know, uncles, etc., etc. But he also taught his brigade, his boys, his girls that were in the kitchens going through that it was a family, that we're all there, we're all in it together, discipline, respect. I learned so much. I mean, I could talk for hours and hours about.
Yeah, I feel like, I think I've talked to you before and we've done another project together, but when you talk about him as well, he's obviously a big part of your
deep.
life.
Yeah, I probably could, you know, some of the things that he said to me, and some of the things that I hear other chefs that are maybe very famous that have gone through his kitchen say, and it's exactly the same. I mean, I went back, it would have been 2 years ago now, and they changed what used to be his office. They've turned it into this beautiful PDR, so all of his old cookbooks are in there.
No way.
There's a cooking school in there.
Oh,
They do
wow.
all the Rouge Scholarship, like first couple of stages through there. Yeah, it's just, it's very touching. It's very humbling to be able to say that I worked in that kitchen for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Do you remember the first day you walked in there?
Oh yes, I had a pair of kickers on because I didn't have like proper chef clogs.
Like kickers?
Kickers like
just
boots, yeah,
just boots or
like
whatever.
regular what we used to wear at school, to go to school. Those I had those hideous check blue and white check trousers that were like
clown.
yeah, clown
pants.
But basically, I had a clown's outfit on. And I remember just being completely overwhelmed with just this beautiful smell, but yet kind of refined smell. It was just a stock. It was just that stock that was
Mirepoix, just type
just that
smell,
caramelized, just wafting through. And then you would turn a corner, and you would just get this beautiful bread smell. Then there'd be like a sweet smell where they used to make lemon tarts like 4 times a day.
4 times a day?
4 times a day, yeah. So they would make.
So they're fresh. Like...
Yeah. So you would have a batch ready for the start service, and you would have another batch that would be going through towards the end of lunch service. Then it would be repeated for dinner service. So it was just like
the smell of lemon
mate,
and pie the whole time.
So good, so good. And then I remember being stuck on the back wall, very very small area, looking at basically a microwave above. There is a microwave in the 3 Michelin star, believe it or not. Doing canapes. And I remember I was shadowing I think I was with one of the chef de parties, and there was always this on olive. And I was like, oh shit, do I need to go and get the olives? Because, you know, not really understanding what was going on, and the chef just taking a piss out of me, like, no. It's just kitchen talk. And just a sense of almost like a rabbit caught in headlights. It was just so much going on. I was like, wanted to focus on what I was doing, but I was also wanting to know what was going on over there, what they were doing over there, and blah, blah, blah. And then you would always hear this set of keys just jangling. And then you would just get this massive waft of Cartier aftershave, and it'd be Mr. Roux just wafting in.
No way.
And you get this deep, beautiful French, commanding, but yet encouraging kind of voice of, good morning, chefs, how are you? You know, and everybody would be like, morning, chef, and it wouldn't just be a collective we, you know, morning. You would go around, and if you were cutting, you would just shake your elbow, or he'd pat you on the back, and, you know, oh, what are you doing? What are you making?
Wow.
And it as much as it was a live kitchen, it was also like another extension of school. And I remember making this tomato salad, and I completely ballsed it up, because obviously you blanch the tomato, you peel it, you de-seed it, and then you do what you need to do. And obviously I'm just like, yeah, slicing it. But instead of getting a bollocking, I got the arm around, and he literally stood next to me and took me through all the stages himself. And that will never ever leave me, for sure.
That's like, for me, a leader, and I always said this from the beginning, I didn't work in Michelin restaurants, but I worked in quite a fine dining restaurant from home, and there was a couple of types of leaders. There was ones that knew how to guide you and like said, you know what, that's not how you do it. Can you do it like this? And there's ones that will yell at you and treat you like shit. And you know, I've been picked up and strangled and beaten up out the back and all sorts of stuff. I'm sure you've got probably just probably even worse actually, because you did the whole London thing. But there's like, I promised myself that I would never be like that person. I would be like the ones that would guide someone. Yeah. And just be a good human. So it's like,
I mean, it's tough. It's toff to do that always.
It is.
You know, some people do push your buttons.
Heat of the moment as well.
Exactly.
And service and all that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm exactly the same. I always looked at all the people that I worked for and tried to take the best elements from them,
Yeah.
or allow myself to be open to that sponge effect. Not not push away anything that was, I don't know, maybe not negative. Positive. A negative sometimes can be the biggest positive. So. That's kind of same mindset as you, mate.
Yeah, no, that's good. Like pick and choose the best parts.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
hopefully be better than where you got where you've been before that. So
yeah.
So then, are we moving into yachting soon, or you got a few more restaurants?
I kicked around in London and did some stages. Worked at Harrods for a little bit in the downstairs in the production. Yeah, I've
done a few different things.
I kind of look at it as a kind of a book. I always wanted many layers, because my ultimate dream was always to have a restaurant, and I always kind of thought that it would be good to have to be multifaceted, I guess, in different aspects of the industry. So I've done airline catering. I did airline catering between jobs for, I think, 2.5 months, night shifts. Absolutely fucking hated it. It was literally, I was like, I learned how to hold like skewers in the hand, so I could like put, and everything was weighed. It was the most just hideous, like big warehouse, temperature controlled. Big white coat, not even chef's uniform, just
like a scientist, basically.
Yeah, absolutely awful. So I've done that. So I guess I have an appreciation for the shit food you get on a flight, unless you're obviously up forward with the rich people.
But I think that's interesting in itself. The way I've always thought about how you need to, make it perfectly, so when then it's reheated, it still tastes like okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's cool.
Worked in a couple of pubs, which is always a good laugh. It's always a good crack. You can learn some very good bad habits as well. And then Michelin star restaurants, hotels. Worked in the Middle East for a period of time in Dubai.
What'd you do there?
So I was the number 2 for an 18-bedroom boutique hotel that had a championship golf course. So we would get a lot of the PGA players that would come out and practice and stuff like that, and ex-football players that would do TV work out there. So that was good. So I headed up their fine dining restaurant, which was great. Got some TV appearances out of it, magazine exposure, won a couple of awards as well, and it was good. And then the credit crunch came, so that was me gone. Big expat on a big old salary. So but it was again another layer to learning, how to run a kitchen with 20 chefs in there, multi outlets as well. So it was a great experience.
And the fat duck as well.
Fat duck. So a funny story, funny story about Heston was, before the fat duck became the fat duck that we all know it. The fat duck was the crazy guy down the road doing this crazy shit. And he couldn't afford a vat pack machine. Now we know how much a vat pack machine is, like a couple of grand now. But I think back then they were 6-7 grand. Paco jets back then were, and we had all that equipment. And he would come down in between, end of lunch service and the start of dinner service. He would come down and use, very good friends with the Roos. And he would come down and he would go around and he would, with his little spoon, he would be tasting stuff, and we'd be like, who's this guy? Why are you coming in with a spoon, tasting stuff and asking questions what we're doing and all that? And it was just amazing to kind of see how he went from that to, arguably one of the greatest chefs of our generation, if not ever. And I can remember talking to him, not comprehending. Well, there was no need to, because he wasn't big and famous then, but just like, he was asking questions of, why do you cut a mirepoix like this? Why do you sweat that like that? Why have you got those cooking under that temperature? And obviously, knowing how he is and how his brain works, he would have just been, So that's kind of a funny story about the fat duck. And then I went and spent a few days there in their very tiny kitchen.
Is that the one that I remember seeing a series on it, like the original series? I think it was upstairs in like a scientific kitchen. Was that where it was?
So that was a development kitchen, and then you had basically the restaurant was right on the side of the road. The pavement is literally so small, and then the kitchen behind the dining room is kind of long and very narrow, and you can just barely pass each other, like very kind of low ceilings. I think they've extended it out to the back and made it all fancy, fancy now. But yeah, it was. I mean, I only spent a week in there just to kind of look around, do a stage and stuff like that. But I mean, just to kind of see the level of discipline that I learned. The water side was remarkable, but there was, I guess, the first introduction to the kind of the tweezer work and kind of like very, very kind of meticulous and all systems going and methodical. So yeah, it was very, very cool.
That's cool. That's cool that you experienced it in that period as well. But the poor guy he's in a bit of he's going through something now. It's like important to talk about. Like, I feel like chefs really like burn themselves out a lot of the time, and I don't know if that's what happened, but Heston's.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of being burnt out, and I think he's been diagnosed with. I mean, I don't want to state something can get it wrong, but I think he's obviously been diagnosed with kind of a medical condition, which I guess
I don't know, is hand in hand.
Yeah, it doesn't kind of hand in hand, I guess. But yeah, we do have to kind of look after ourselves and look after each other as well. As you've got a big network of chefs. As I've got loads of mates that are chefs. Just checking in with them, just dropping them a message. Can be something that's funny. Doesn't have to necessarily be, "Are you okay?" Because most guys would be like, "Shut the fuck up, I'm busy, mate." Have you seen how many potatoes I've got to prep? Or
why are you bothering me?
Like, guess on.
But yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I try to speak to as many of my mates as possible, and
Yeah, it's tough out there, and you got to remember to get a bit of a balance happening if you can, if you have an opportunity. So I want to talk about. Does the black chicken come before the yachting?
It did, yeah. The black chicken is kind of, I guess, a long-standing project. The idea for that was, I think, it first grew because I wanted to have something to aim for, which I still do, which was to have a restaurant. That's kind of slightly changed. I'm not sure whether a restaurant really what I want to do. That's still kind of lots of ideas floating around about what I want to do when the day eventually comes where I have to, give up my old salty sea legs and
take off the golden handcuffs.
Yeah, exactly. Get off the old big white boats. But yeah, it was kind of to kind of set that up and to have. I used to do a little bit of private dining and private chefing in London, in between jobs and things like that. So it was kind of good for that to kind of have a focal point for clients to be able to look at a website and things like that. And then I had this massive idea to kind of start writing a book, which again was originally started out as, okay, well, have, I don't know, 10 starter recipes, 10, blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of thought, no, that's what everybody else is doing. So why not I just kind of wait, and then maybe when the golden handcuffs are no more, actually tell the stories and the dishes behind those stories, and pictures and passages of conversations I've had with suppliers or guests or crewmates, and kind of give a whole kind of chapter to kind of the guy that was adopted to the guy that hopefully is sitting with his beautiful family and has got maybe a couple of food trucks or whatever, whatever it is. I think is what I'm more steering to what I want to do with that kind of idea, to be honest.
Yeah, I think things change over time. Myself personally, I wanted to do this, and then as I grow or in the industry longer or other things pop up, you know what I mean? Like it's not I don't think it's a bad thing that you have these ideas and things change and your life moves in different directions.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think if you kind of just stay focused on one particular thing, you can end up missing something else great, or missing an opportunity where you can really contribute to other people and help other people. I'm a massive a believer in giving back. In London, there always used to be a thing where you couldn't share recipes and and stuff like that. Whereas I think, like I've said to various sous chefs that I've had, you can have any recipe off me apart from the chocolate brownie one.
Oh, really?
Because the chocolate brownie one you can go get.
Now I'm intrigued.
You can bribe me as much as you like, you're never going to get it. So
incredible. Okay.
It's the only one that I won't actually give out.
Wow, how good can a chocolate brownie recipe be?
It's pretty naughty, yeah.
You're not putting it in the book.
Depends how much the publisher wants.
I was going to say, it's going to push sales.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. And yachts, are you kind of moving towards that now, or how did you find out about yachts?
So I used to go to school with Justine Murphy of My
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
So I used to go to a boys' school and she went to a girls' school. I don't really remember Justine that much because I think she was a year above me, and apparently she always used to see me on the bus. So we've crossed. We definitely would have spoken and stuff like that. I probably fancied half of her mates or whatever back then as well. So
Justine, I mean, I don't even know how to describe Justine because she does so many different things, but I know
I'd say powerhouse.
A powerhouse, there you go.
Yeah.
I think she describes herself as a powerhouse as well.
Yeah.
But she does chef recruitment, she does plateware, she does online chef courses.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. She does everything.
Podcast. She's now an agent as well for a lot of chefs in London. So I think she was very instrumental in getting Hannah onto Great British Menu recently as well. She's great. She's also a good person that you can talk to as well. She knows a lot about food.
Such a lovely person.
A lot about the industry as a whole as well. So
yeah, that's her background. So you went to school with this powerhouse.
I did, with this wonderful powerhouse. And I was posting the odd picture on Facebook and things like that, and she kind of said, your food's lovely. Would you ever consider working on a yacht? And I was like, how what is this? Tell me more. And then obviously she told me about the certification that you needed.
Was she was working on yachts at the time?
No, she had.
What was she doing?
She was at early days of Miami Bueno.
Wow.
Yeah, so she had a little office in Palma.
I remember I went there.
Yeah, it was like a little cobbled street, and then you went right, I think.
It wasn't an upstairs one.
No, that's later on when she had the cookery school as well.
I went to that one. Yeah. Okay, so interesting.
Yeah, and then I basically took her advice. I went and did my ENG1 and the STCW, and then for some reason I didn't go straight away into it. I went and did some temp work at a hotel in London, which was again great. Had a good time, and then I ended up working as a private chef for a very wonderful lady, very strong, very as in strong-willed, as in, and she taught me a lot about levels. Mm-hmm. Like obviously I'd learnt levels in kitchens, but she taught me a lot about a level that is great, but there's also another level. There's another level. I mean, this is a woman that owned Coco Barry.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day, Toblerone.
No way.
Best mates with the Porsche family. Best mates with the Lindt family.
Uh-huh.
And I'd managed to cook for all of these. She'd have this big wonderful party in St. Moritz. And they would come over and it would be all the ladies, and I'd end up cooking for them and meeting all these wonderful people. So it was just like, wow. You're like the Adidas family and blah, blah, blah. I'm name dropping now, but anyway. So I kind of did that. And then I went and worked on a private island.
Where was that?
That was in Panama.
Panama.
A place called Isla Simca. Beautiful, very remote, little place. In Panama. Again, I'm like my face is beaming just because the memories are just amazing. I did that, and then the owner had a little, well, not little. I think it was maybe 60-meter old fishing boat that he converted into like a yacht, so to speak. And I used to kind of go from the island on a jet ski with the other boat taking like provisions and stuff, and go on there and cook for one night. Then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to take a little weekend cruising, can you come on? So I'd do that. And I kind of got the bug. Because I was kind of like, it's not actually too dissimilar to a normal kitchen. Okay, there's obviously levels of being organised and stuff. So I ended up messaging Justine again and got the kind of ball rolling again. But I think at that stage, they just brought in the ship's cook.
Okay, yeah.
So and then obviously, I then came to Antibes to do it with what's his name, Cedric, and another chef, a British chef. I went and did the course there,
Okay.
and obviously I got my certification for that, and then I got a temp gig in Gibraltar, and then literally the same week they were about to leave, I was planning to go over to the Bahamas on it, so it would have been the first like big crossing and everything. Justine called me up and said, "Oh, I've got a lady here that's got your CV. She's really interested. Would you be able to speak to her in a couple of days?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my birthday, so blah blah blah." Anyway, long story short, I got the job on my birthday, and then flew home for 4 or 5 days back to the UK, and then flew off to Palma, and then I guess
How big was that boat?
that boat was, I want to say maybe 60 meters. It's the old, the original Atlantis.
Were you a sous chef, head chef?
Yeah, I was sous chef.
Sous chef on that?
Yeah, so I kind of decided that it would be best for me to learn from someone that knows the game, and also the provisioning side of it is different to.
It's a little different.
You know, second telephone call in a day for, you know, you can't really do that in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
It's tough, yeah. Learning those like not simple things, but learning those things that are different to land-based stuff. It's like the storage as well.
Oh yeah, 100%,
and like
yeah.
you know, especially if you're doing some sort of crossing or being at sea for a long period of time,
Yeah.
you got to be smart about it.
Yeah, 100%.
And you got to work out what's going to last and what's not going to last. And
Yeah.
I miss those days of restaurants of just like night before, and next morning it rocks up.
Yeah.
Like you just can't do that here. It's just it's too
I
hard.
once called a little funny one for you. I once called a milk supplier 6 times because I'd left work at like 1, and I was falling asleep on the tube. And every single time I woke up, I was like, "Oh shit, I haven't done the milk delivery." And it was obviously an answer machine, so it was like, "Yeah, like 12 by 4 liters of, double cream, blah 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 blah." And I remember the girl calling me back in the morning and went, "Do you need this order like 8 times because that's how many times we've got it?"
You were so tired.
I was just so tired and like beaten up that I'd called in this order like 8 times.
That gives me PTSD about
it's just like, weird.
land-based restaurants. Here in the ticket machine, did I remember to order this?
Yeah,
oh
exactly,
my God. That's amazing. And now you're on Lunacy.
I'm on Lunacy, yeah.
Lunacy, which is a 74 meter.
Yeah, that's right.
Head chef. Are you rotation?
Yeah, rotation, yeah.
Living the dream.
Living the dream,
almost.
Yeah. It's great, yeah.
Next step is owning a boat, but
let's go slowly, Dean.
But how's that going? Good. Charter,
it's great. Yeah.
Charter, private. You got a few charters.
Both. Both. We've got a busy season. We've already had a busy last month. We've got another busy. Well, rest of the season is pretty solid. So, yeah, it's great. Again, it comes into all of that past journey that I've got of kind of being organised and trying to keep a level head and trying to be calm and support my sous chef and support the chief stew and the rest of the guys on board. It's testing times for all of us. But yeah, I like to think that I've got a cool, calm collective. I like to kind of crack a few jokes here and there as well, and
nice.
Get some good tunes on and go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I feel like I didn't even touch on everything that you did, but like I feel like you've done such a crazy variety of different things in your life. And have you drawn from all those places into yachting now? What have you taken? Like,
I've definitely taken the attention to detail of the Michelin star establishments. I've taken the get shit done from the airline stuff for sure.
Get it done.
And also maybe the pubs. In terms of, because you go in the morning. It's Johnny's not coming in. He's so it's like you're a man down. So you're doing 2 man's jobs. Obviously in a galley you're probably doing a lot of people's work between 2 people or 3. If you or however big your brigade is. And a little bit from Mr. Rue in terms of actually trying to enjoy being in the shit. Enjoy, I always try and say, don't just look at the world outside the window. You know, take your radio, go and stand outside. You know, 30 seconds is not gonna.
Love it.
They're not gonna know if the breakfast is 30 seconds later than it should be, because you're outside just having a look at the view and decompressing and just actually stepping back and going, actually, fucking hell, I'm actually quite privileged here.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of other chefs that don't get paid as much as we do. There's lots of other chefs that don't get to see daylight for hours. We are lucky that, especially in our boat, we've got 2 beautiful big windows. We can see out. You know, we can go and go on the port side and stand outside and get fresh air. So those kind of things. Organisation, I get again from the Michelin thing. Yeah.
And just wearing all different hats of like, cooking all these different cuisines, and I say this many times, but like, you're taking off your sushi hat and putting on your pizza hat. You know what I mean? Like, it's nuts, the expectations of all of the restaurants inside this floating tin can.
The floating supermarket.
The floating supermarket,
literally.
And somehow we pull it off. I don't know how, but it's amazing kind of what you do and what the rest of the chefs do. And so is there any advice that you could offer anyone that's kind of wanting to get into this industry?
The first thing I would definitely say is be humble, and I don't mean that in an arrogant place from someone that is, a head chef on a super yacht. I don't mean that in a patronising way at all. I mean that in the sense of always be humble. I'm still, there's things I know that I want. I will drive for them because I know that they work in that particular environment. So I will stand my ground on certain things. But I'm also open to a different approach. If there's a different setup that will help us on a day-to-day basis, I'm not going to discount it because I didn't think of that idea. But I think for chefs that are coming in, being humble and not having your expectations that, okay, I've worked at a 2-star for 2 years, I'm going to walk straight onto a 90-meter and be a head chef and run, 4 other chefs and do it, because it's a completely different ball game. I'm not saying that you necessarily need to jump down to be a sous, but think about the next step slightly before the first step, because you can do a lot of damage to yourself and to your expectations if you take something where you're not quite ready for it. Because there is a lot to learn. It's not just about making great bao buns or making great sushi. There is also juggling the emotions of other crew and other crew's expectations, ever-changing facets of, oh no, we're not going to be there on anchor. Yeah, mate, that delivery of literally 2 weeks, I actually need that holding, and then if you can move it to here in 2 days' time, whilst then in the middle of breakfast service, and then sous chef's cut herself, or there's so many other things going on. Chief stew, my chief stew is amazing. In case she watches this, no, we're literally like brother and sister. Nice. It's an amazing relationship. But they have a bad day, we have a bad day. It's a juggling thing.
Yeah.
It's not. It goes far beyond just cooking a great plate of food.
Yeah, it's not about cooking anymore. It's not about just being there and cooking food and prepping food. You're living with all these people and all these different, I don't know. It's a lot to juggle, and
definitely. So
great advice. Working your way up, and
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I think there can always be this. Well, no, if I ask how do you make, I don't know, hollandaise, or how do you make a red wine sauce, no one thinks you're shit.
Yeah.
I'd rather someone ask than do something that's completely wrong and we can't use it. We've lost, 2 days worth of prep when you could have just. I kind of know how to make it, but I've seen how you do it. It always looks banging on the plate. I'll teach you the recipe.
And you're learning something.
Yeah, you're learning something, and then you go away and you go to your next boat or whatever you want to do afterwards, and you might take a little bit of what Frosty taught you, what Dean taught you, what you learned at the 3-star in France, and that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to kind of look at my peers as much as what I've learned and what I've discovered myself, and try and become a better chef and produce a better plate of food at the end of the day for my owners and the guests.
Amazing.
That's it.
There you go. There you have it. Frosty, amazing to have you here, and so good to see you, bro. It's been a while.
And you.
So appreciate you. Appreciate you dropping by.
Pleasure to be on. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks for dropping by the galley for a chat. We'll see you later and take care.